AM 560. The Answer.
To give you an idea of the kind of scum we deal with in media, Tulsi's out is the head of the Drudge Report. To not mention that she resigned because her husband has cancer and the magnanimous nature that she has is repulsive. But this is just a headline that the communist scum who fluff up traitors, treason, and policies meant to destroy you. This is what they have to do. Lie, cheat, and steal. It's all they're good at.
Politically, you just literally cannot do it. Okay, transparent financing, and let's have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass. And, it's the second best argument. Look, I wish Mark was right. We can make it all transparent, but I'd rather have this law than not. So it's kind of.
And you paid $6 million for that hair-lipped communist scum, Jonathan Gruber, to concoct and create a bill that was always fraud. The bill was always fraud. And every rat pig Democrat knew who to call. Marxist con artist. And who could get it passed? But the silver-tongued devil, who was so good at lying, he not only hid the fact he was a swindler from the west side of Chicago, he had people thinking that ass-faced dog wife of his was beautiful.
It will actually reduce the deficit by $4 trillion over the long term, reducing the waste and inefficiency in Medicare and Medicaid.
Who exactly is Gruber? What was his role in crafting Obamacare?
I don't know who he is. He didn't help write our bill.
Most people think he's one of the best outside experts, Mr. Gruber of MIT.
I don't know if you have seen Jonathan Gruber of MIT's analysis. And so
Jonathan Gruber is one of the most respected economists in the world.
He attended 5 of the 12 meetings at the Obama White House in 2009, including the meeting with the president.
See, but everyone knew, or should have known, Barack Obama is a traitor who not only wasn't qualified or eligible to be president, he was always just an asset of enemies, foreign and domestic.
The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, declassified a memo that the spy community wrote in 2020, right before the presidential election, warning about vulnerabilities in election infrastructure. The memo proves conspiracy theorists were right all along about foreign government hacking into U.S. election systems. It was kept hidden through the 2020 election, 2022 midterms, 2024 presidential elections until now. Conservatives say this memo proves that the intelligence community and Biden-era officials played politics with election security. The memo details how the government knew the risks and knew the American people would lose trust if the risks were made public, so they chose to keep it quiet.
And steal an election.
You go to odni.gov, people who say, well, Tulsi, this is just your view or your interpretation. No. It's all in hundreds of pages of documents that I've declassified and released that show point by point exactly what happened through this timeline that showed this very dangerous thing that occurred in the creation of Russiagate, the creation of this manufactured intelligence assessment that essentially had the intent of undermining the voices and votes of the American people.
Tulsi Gabbard is a bigger patriot than anybody in the Obama campaign. Adam, Lake Bluff.
Hey, Sean, I wanted to talk to you earlier about remittances that are not only going to like Mexico and Central and South America, but I worked on bases all through Europe,
yes,
in England, Germany, and Italy.
Yes.
And you will not believe what the Germans, Italians, some Brits have built from the rent that many American military and government people paid into their buildings that they own, apartments.
Oh, yes. It's the redistribution of American wealth and treasure to foreigners.
We've made other countries so wealthy.
That's the good news,
and
too.
they still complain.
Adam, the good news is Donald Trump has shaved tens of thousands of military from these former invaded countries of the Nazis. Thank you very much. Terrence, Northwest Suburbs. How are you, Terrence?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for what you've done for the veterans and the military over the years.
Thank you.
And I want to do a Semper Fi to your uncle, thinking of him this weekend. I hope you realize what Memorial Day weekend is. It's not just a picnic. It's honoring the people we lost.
This should be Americans' least favorite holiday, where they understand exactly the sacrifice so many gave, and that's why they need to be steadfast to the principles. Thank you, Terrence, for everything you've done, and thank you for serving this country. Ralph and Rantoul, you handsome devil.
Sean, good evening. Hey, it's only a conspiracy theory when we're talking about Democrat treachery that's not yet been disclosed. So, hey, my father, bless his heart, was a Purple Heart
yes, he was.
U.S. Marine fighting on Okinawa. My mom, Navy veteran, still alive, pushing 102. But, hey, look, what are the current murmurs about who's going to replace Tulsi? Because she exceeded my expectations for help. How badass she was.
Yeah,
really good.
her second is taking over. And I'm going to tell you something. This is just the beginning of this girl. As long as her husband gets through, she's coming back with a vengeance. Ralph, give your mother a kiss for me. I love that story. And he said Iwo Jima, one of the saddest stories.
This was the saddest thing that happened to me, and I never forget it. I tell everybody I talk to, I'll never forget it. I think about it. I dream about it once in a while. What happened was that three of us were in a cave around the north end, and it's getting close to the end, and we're sitting there just talking. I said, I got to get up there and take a look, see what's going on. So I got up there and put my elbow on the ground, my glasses, looking for snipers. I couldn't find a thing. It was a very calm day. Nothing was moving. I was there about 15 minutes. I dropped back down. I got on the horn, my radio, and I said, Graves to CP. Hey, go ahead, Graves. I said, and I told him, I said, I've been looking. I can't see a thing. Well, you better keep looking because our first sergeant took a round his leg from out there. I said, okay, I'll keep looking. By the way, you got a kid coming for a replacement. I said, good, we need him. So I hung the phone up. 10 minutes later, while he stood at the hole, he said, Graves? I said, yeah, come on down. He jumped in the hole. He said, what do you want me to do? I said, sit over there. There'll be a lot to do tonight when they come. I got up and I'm looking. I was going to go look. He said, hey, Graves, let me have the glasses. I'll look. And I said, nah, you get yourself shot. My one buddy says, give him the glasses. That's what he's here for. I threw the glasses. He got up right where I had been. I know that Japanese sniper was waiting for me again about 10 minutes after. We're sitting there shooting the breeze, just talking. Pew! He fell back. He got shot in the forehead. It went through his helmet. His helmet flew off and landed down by my feet. We were stunned. Not that he got cut, but I was just up there. He knew I was going to go back up there. He knew that. And I looked at that, and I looked down in that helmet, and there was a beautiful girl sitting in a chair, and on her lap was a beautiful baby. When I saw that, I just lost it. I got up and threw everything off, and I cursed Iwo Jima. I cursed the Marine Corps. And the worst thing I did is I cursed God because he let that kid take my place. I didn't understand.
It's not a holiday. It's not a holiday. It's Memorial Day.